No pressure.
No pressure. And then we have one more trustee. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Janice Tibbetts. I also saw your presentation. Very excited to work with you, and welcome aboard.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. And you've met Yvette before, so, right?
A couple of times, yep.
Awesome, great.
Well, and I just thank you very much again for your confidence in us and our firm. I'm in my home office, and I'm just wondering what's behind me. No, we're really excited to get started, and there's a lot of good things happening in the library world, even with the challenges that we've all had to deal with the past, 8 months now. So it'll be fun. It'll be a good process.
So what do we do? Tell us everything.
Well, quite frankly, I really appreciated your email. It was very exciting coming back from a long weekend to get that, and I had to pull out the proposal that we sent in to remember. It had been quite a long time since we talked. So really, my impression is we're going to move forward. We were looking at 4 options, for how to solve the woes of the library and really address some important needs that the community's been seeing, that you've been seeing. So I guess really could you maybe bring me up to speed, so to speak, on really what's going on? What are some of the challenges? Are there any new conversations going on that might change what we look at or how we approach this project? And I realize that's an overly vague question, but.
Well, I think that one of the things that is a concern for us, and probably is a concern for anybody looking at any sort of building project right now, is the impact of the economy and changes in the economy and uncertainty. But we talked about that, and I think one of the things we feel strongly about is that this has been a long time coming, and it's a process, and that if we keep putting it off until everything is rosy, it's just not reality. So we need to be gathering our information. I think this is a board who really likes to know their stuff. Even if when you come back to us that we see that 2 or 3 of the proposals don't even make sense, I think the town is one that would appreciate that we have done our due diligence and our research and we're able to explain why we made our choices. I think that's something that people value. People want to know that we have a middle school that had some roofing issues. And I think one of the concerns for people is, are you building something that I'm going to have to come back and deal with issues with it in 5 or 10 years? Nobody wants that. So, I mean, those are just some of the things I hear floating around. I think the library is well loved. I think people love the services. I think Yvette has done a really good job positioning us in both the capital T town and the town as we are part of the team of the town. We want to work with the town. We want to be contributing to the town. We are partners with them. I don't know. Does anybody else have anything else? And I know you're working on a project with them too. So, that's important to us that we are all part of the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually have to check in with Paul and see where we are with that, because it's gone quiet for a little while. So
yeah,
but that's okay. That's normal.
Yeah, but I think that it's nice if we are all part of the same vision, or we all get the picture of where the direction is going with the town. But would anybody else like to add anything more specific or to that, or no? Karen.
Well, all I'm thinking of is looking at the proposal, and there were 4 options originally that were offered. So what we would need to do is see if they're feasible, see if it is, well, for example, like expanding the present either by renovation or addition or something. I don't know. I have the impression that the town, many of the patrons would appreciate that it would feel like home, but bigger and better. But I don't know about the reality of that, because I think that it's the location of the property might limit what we can do as far as parking and things like that. So I don't know. And then that might be less expensive than starting from scratch. But if we start from scratch, then there's the other possibilities. And you know, as a townsperson and a patron of the library, I don't really know anything about any of this really, except that we have some parameters, and
Okay.
relying on you to make them clear.
Yeah. So, you know, again, the idea that this is a study, and I appreciate, Deborah, what you said. Really, it's important to go through this process in a due diligence effort. And my partner, who has since retired, you know, we used to have this back and forth because it's the point where we want to be prepared to address any practical question that could come up at town meeting or SB2 and really show we thought about this. It's just ink on paper at this point. So how many different ways could we solve this problem? And it's really worth the effort and the time spent now to help you make good decisions. And really that's what I see as my primary role. You know, we like to design beautiful buildings and energy efficient, but really it's let's get through some big ideas for how do we solve the big picture problems so that together we can take that next step. So I think that's really the goal here. Originally, I recall we were looking at doing this October, November, December, sort of having stuff wrapped up, you know, by Christmas time, if I recall. And presumably that was in preparation for a March warrant article for future work or something. But I'm not really clear on that timeline and that process of what you think you'd be going through on the political side.
And I'm not sure that we are either, because,
Okay.
you know, I know that with the stuff that you're working on with the town too, you know, we want to make sure that we're approaching this again, sort of from everybody's perspective. And if the town already has something, when is the best time for the library to get involved? So I think that's sort of a back and forth discussion that we all need to have. You know, I don't know that I don't know. Yvette, maybe, do you know anything about? No. So, you know, I think that obviously we don't want to bombard the voters with a ton of things right now. And I think that, you know, that we expect this will be a process, and it might be a process that we need to do a lot of conversations with people and get people on board. I think that once we make a decision about what we want to do, there's going to have to be an effort of fundraising that goes on. So there's going to be quite a bit involved with this. I would not expect that we would be ready to put it on the warrant next year. I would think that it would be, and I also think that, and this might just be human nature, you need to hear it, you need to say no, you need to think about it. Eventually people come around, but it has to be introduced slowly so people can start to see the need for it and look at things a little bit differently, I think, in town. And I do think a fundraising campaign is going to be a big part of our efforts. And we have a development fund, and that will be something that they take on, but we can't fundraise till we know what we want to do, right? So this is our first step.
Yeah, you really need to have a sense of what the project is, the definition, before you can really launch a successful capital campaign. And I'm not sure that we'll get to that definition in this little study. This is more, you know, I'm just looking at what Paul had sent us way back, you know, upgrade the existing library, conceptual design for a library campus that includes the John O'Leary Center, library construction at MYA Twin Bridges property, which I'm not clear about, and then design land owned on DW Highway. So it's really, it's almost a feasibility site selection is how we're approaching it, sort of really big picture, to see what the direction might make sense for the town. And then what would, it might be premature, but what would you foresee the process being of sort of narrowing this down and saying upgrading the existing is the way we want to go, or, you know, building on DW Highway is the way we want to go? What does that maybe look like? Have you thought about that?
Yvette, please share what you think.
Well, we had hired Stibler Associates to do a study of our space. So I know
Okay.
one of the things that, you know, she came up with where we're missing space. And what she was looking at was just this footprint of this building, the main floor and the lower floor.
Okay.
One of the things Paul had said to us, or at least he said to me, sometime over the past year, was figure out the footprint that you feel you need, and then figure out where that footprint fits on any of these
Okay.
locations. So I think we're working with the Stibler research that she had done that might inform some of these questions.
Sure. Okay. And did she do a full space needs assessment? I've seen some of hers. She does Janella, right? You were working with Janella? Yeah. She does a really good job. So I'd probably reach out to her and see if she'd be willing to share that with me. And any documentation she's put together. That would be really good information to kick this off. Okay. So where do we go from here? That's the core question. I think we're going to go into data collection mode. So talking with Stibler, reaching out to her, probably makes sense, Yvette, if we once we get that, if we come down and maybe you and I just do a little work session conversation about the existing building and see what kind of backup drawings you might have, if you have any existing drawings of that. And I vaguely remember that you thought you did. Okay. So really collecting all that data together, looking at the collection and getting some of that information in terms of where you see it growing and what we would need to address there would be a big piece, because that's really going to inform how big is the building, how might it lay out on these various options, how much parking you need, all those other pieces of the puzzle. The time frame sounds a little looser than I remember. Is that fair to say that, if we start kicking this off in early November instead of October, does that seem reasonable?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's fine. I mean, I'm sorry to speak for the board, but does anyone disagree with me? Otherwise, I think that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. We can move relatively quickly through these, but we found that it tends to not be of good value because you feel like we're rushing you through on decisions. And really, I think it is important to go slow and have thoughtful conversations about the project and make sure that, everyone understands why we're looking at it the way we are. So, and we do that together. But I would think that we could have, something wrapped up to, in terms of concepts or a recommendation, probably in that January timeframe. So I think 3 months is about the right pace to go at this project. And whether or not that, is a good time or not is that would be a conversation with the rest of the town. So.
I think that's great. I think that, I would rather, again, have a thorough process where everything is investigated and we've given it a lot of thought. I think that one of the things, we had a school meeting, budget meeting, and I remember distinctly that people really were thrilled to hear that our school, that the SAU was going to be doing a comprehensive plans study of like the whole campus to review things. And it was not something people balked at all. Like, I think people valued that there was going to be a thoughtful assessment of needs done, and that they weren't going to just start moving this and doing that people were going to have a plan in place. So I do think that our town values that sort of thoughtful, thorough investigation so that we know that money will be well spent. So.
Okay, good. And I, as a voter, I appreciate stuff like that. Okay. I guess the nuts and bolts of it, the next thing we need to do is I need to get you a formal proposal, basically just formalize this and get it into an agreement form. It'll be basically what we had before. We'll just put some signature lines in, put some terms and conditions, and that just gets us rolling in terms of setting it up in our accounting system. So I would send that to you, Deborah. Is that?
So
I see Yvette saying yes.
Yvette is saying yes. Yvette is saying yes.
Yeah.
So I guess you would send that to me.
Okay. So one of the questions that excuse me, that we struggle with libraries is, in some towns the library is authorized to sign these, in others it goes to the town. So the town manager or Paul, would sign that.
Okay, so let me clarify. I'm authorized to sign for the library.
Okay.
But I am basing this on previous conversations with the board that for a building project they would prefer to sign. So Deb, you can decide. But I'm authorized to sign everything for the library.
And Jason, if you just want to send it to me, and then we can work out that sort of behind the scenes stuff, and
that'd be fine.
It's all good. So yeah, it's fine. Thank you.
I make a point to not let those details slow us down, but they're important details. So, what other questions or concerns or worries do you have about starting this project? I really, I know it can be intimidating for some, and sometimes you don't know what you don't know, kind of thing. And I do want to be that advisor for you, and I want our staff to be. So, feel free, if you get worried, concerns, just pick up the phone and give us a call, and let's talk about it. And I get calls, well, an hour ago from some, so that's okay. But just sort of starting off, any big concerns that I could address?
Does anyone have any concerns they'd like to bring before Jason now? I think we are all just excited to get going. This seems like this has been sort of in the ether for a while, and now to actually be like, okay, we're moving forward. Janice, I'm sorry, it looked like you were raising your hand as I started speaking. Did you want to say something?
Pretty much sort of what Karen said. We don't know what we don't know. And Jason, you said the same thing. So it's a little bit of educate ourselves, and any feedback that you have on or suggestions how we educate ourselves would be helpful.
Okay. Well, let's we'll get the contract in place, but let's kick this into data collection mode. And if it's okay, Yvette, you and I can communicate directly. And I'm assuming that nobody has any concerns about me reaching out to Janella and seeing what she's willing to share.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Yep. And once we get that underway, then we'll come back around, maybe set up another review meeting and really talk about what we're seeing as the challenges in terms of your space needs, where you're at, and where your existing building is at. I think we would start there with solving that problem, and then as we get going with that concept, then we would expand to the other potential sites, just sort of thinking through how we would attack it. Okay?
That sounds fantastic. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience again with us through this process, and for joining us tonight, and bearing with our 20-year recognition and all that. So
no, that was great. I really, that was fun. I feel proud to be part of it.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, again, thank you very much, and I look forward to a good process and getting to know you all much better.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Have a great evening.
Thanks, you too.
You too.
Well, that was great. So I hope everybody is feeling as optimistic as I am. I have to admit that I was very tired going into this meeting, and those two things just kind of energized me. That's really exciting. So thank you, everyone. And I do want you to feel that we can ask him questions throughout this process. I think that we want to be a united board. So I would just ask if you have specific questions for him. If you send them to me, I'll send them to him and make sure that you all get the answers and responses to that. So we'll keep those lines of communication going. But I certainly don't want anyone to feel like anything you wonder about or are worried about can't be addressed. So let's make sure we're on top of that. Okay. All right. On to the actual meeting. Let's go. We have, first thing, September action items. Let's see. We did really well on this. Library director to forward copies of RFPs. Obviously that was done. Chair to contact Primex. I did contact Primex, and the person, our contact at Primex, said that she, because of the, and I wrote it, I have it here, because of, they don't cover employment contracts in their liability coverage document, so they can't give us advice on this topic, and that we should reach out to town or library employment council, or maybe the town's HR department. So Yvette, I guess my question for you is, do you feel like this is a town HR department person? Is this, do I need to get in touch with Matt or a different lawyer for an employment type question? I'm not sure what the route is to address this through the town.
What's the topic again?
Your letter, your terms of employment letter.
Probably, it's one of those, I need to ask permission of the town manager if we can contact the attorney. It sounds like something that Carrie Ann would do.
Okay.
She tends to do the personnel stuff.
Okay, so we did like
ask permission.
Okay.
Because they bill us, so.
Yeah, totally.
So have a known charge and.
Okay.
They can do that.
So maybe that would be an action item that you can see if we have permission to speak with them. That would be great. So that's that. We invited Joanne to the board meeting. And, oh, did I say 20 years of service and she really has been 25? No, she's been 20. 20, okay, because I was there and then I left. Okay. Janice, go ahead.
So the action item is.
I'm going through your minutes, the reviews.
No, I know that. This new action item that we just talked about.
Yvette will contact the town to see if we have permission to speak to their lawyer regarding her letter of employment. The one that made her have terms that we want to get rid of the terms.
So Yvette contacts town to find out if it's okay, to find out if it's okay to talk to the town attorney.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see. Karen purchased gift cards. That's done. We did the final vote on the purchase of the granite sign. We did that. So that's done. It's on our agenda to consider whether to reinstate fines. And retreat action items are to be reviewed today, apparently. So can we perhaps table that since we already spent 40 minutes? And maybe perhaps if everybody's okay with moving that to the November meeting, since it's already 7:40 and we're on our first item. Does anybody object to that?
No.
I think I need to make a motion to move. You know what, we're just going to make it an action item. We're going to move it to November and move on. So if that's okay with everyone, I'd like to go to bed before 10:30, 11, you know. Oh, I'm telling you, I'm not to be like to digress, but doing everything through COVID takes 10 times as long. So work, the hours never end. So, okay. So Yvette understands that everything takes longer in the library now. Okay.
Oh, you have no idea. You have every idea.
I've been working 10, 11 hours. I'm an elementary school librarian. It's so weird, right? Okay, on to new business. We have the holiday schedule before us. Yvette, would you like to speak to that?
I just want to make a note about the November meeting that you're going to review. This is for my notes.
Yep, we'll review our retreat action items.
Yeah, so this is usually the October meeting is when the board reviews the holiday schedule. I worked with Joanne to put this together because it's something she has done for years. And I attached kind of a sheet of explanations. I hope that was
Yes.
here, or no, I hope you got it.
Yes, I got it. Find it.
Yes.
Can I interrupt?
Go ahead.
I'm getting a lot of messages that my internet connection is a little funky. So in case you lose me, that's why.
You,
Okay.
turn your camera off and just go audio. That might help.
Okay.
Now I have it.
Okay. Thank you, Janice. We'll keep that in mind if we lose you. So, yes, so we have this before us. So is the only change the addition of Juneteenth? Is that the thing that we're really considering?
Yeah. I was thinking about, as I was driving around after I sent this out, I don't know what you guys think about Election Day. That's been on the radio a lot of, should businesses close for Election Day to allow for their employees to vote? We have 12 hours worth of time to vote in Merrimack, and I'm assuming the other towns surrounding are similar, and that would be the only other thing that popped into my head, but anyway.
I would say I love the idea of the library being open on Election Day. I feel like you field calls. This is just my personal opinion. I welcome whatever anybody else says, but I also would want to make sure that our staff know that it's important to us that they have an opportunity to vote. And I would certainly not want someone to be penalized if they were late to work or had to leave early. You know what I mean? So it's kind of balancing those two things. I want the library to be open, but I also want to support the staff being able to go and vote and not have that be a conflict for them. So I don't know what to say. I'm hoping that
no one's ever said to me that they weren't able to vote.
Okay.
So
I guess, you hear about long waits and stuff. Like if somebody, hopefully we won't have that arise, but if somebody comes to work late because they went to vote, like I certainly wouldn't want someone to be penalized for that sort of thing. I think we can be human about this whole thing. So I don't know.
Yep.
Anybody have any thoughts about? I like the library. I like the idea of the library being open as an information source for people because when they don't know who else to ask, you're the people they ask, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Can I ask, maybe I should know this, but what's Juneteenth?
Juneteenth is the day that's recognized for when the last state in the Union received the message that slavery had been abolished.
Okay.
So in shorthand, and it came up in the news a lot this summer, which is why I know more about it. But it's seen as Independence Day for people in the Black community. And I think it's an important part of our history that we haven't recognized before. And when I did some research this summer, it's recognized in the state of New Hampshire. So I was surprised about that.
Now I remember. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So what are people's thoughts on that? What are your opinions or concerns or? Karen, please.
What is EDI?
Equity, diversity, and inclusion.
Gotcha. And
So I'll speak. So I am fully in support of the library recognizing this. I am concerned, given that we were closed for a while, given that we have some things coming forward, how us adding another day of being closed will be perceived. And I'm not saying it's not important that we recognize this day. I'm not saying we shouldn't recognize this day. I'm looking at the overall plan of what what it's been like. How will people evaluate us giving our staff a holiday? I'm looking at what people's perception will be, even if they support it. So I'm just, that's my only hesitation is given this uncertain time and how we've been closed for a while and that sort of thing. And I don't think that we were wrong to be closed. It was the right thing to do, but I just know, Yes. So that is my only concern. Does anyone have any opinions? Anything they'd like to say? You're all very quiet. So Janice, please.
I guess I was thinking a little bit along the lines of what you said about being open for election day. Like, I'm sort of caught, like the library could do a lot of education around that, but that also could come before or after this day is, the library's closed for that day. So that's just thoughts. I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other. I think it would be, yeah, food for thought.
Okay. Janet, go ahead.
So I was thinking along the same ideas as Janice, given that I knew about this holiday from the summer and looked it up again when it came up. And I can see Deb's point, but I agree with Janice in a sense that I like the idea of being open such that it would be a day to share all of what it means and have more information about it.
Karen.
I'm thinking that if there are displays of educational materials about it beforehand, that it could, in other words, instead of doing the educating on the day, educate prior to the day. But I agree that maybe, well, I mean, election day, I think, I'm thinking more and more, especially under these circumstances, the climate of the country and of the population, that giving people time to go and vote. I mean, a normal presidential election is craziness in Merrimack, if you've worked the polls. But this year, I think it'll be interesting because I think it's going to even out because the mail and absentee ballots are going to be so much of a percentage of the vote. So a lot of people won't come, but other people will. I don't know. I'm just babbling because I have no idea.
So we're the rule makers, right? We can decide how we want to handle this. I feel like this is a topic that maybe I was poking around a little bit, and I saw that Chase closed early last year. I think that it might behoove us to do a little bit of research on our own and sort of educate ourselves about this day and what might be the appropriate anti-racist approach to looking at this and what we can do in our community with that lens. So I would love to revisit this if people could take some time to think about it. I hesitate to have a vote when people don't seem to feel comfortable having a discussion. I think that it's not a bad idea for us to see what is being done around the country and do a little more research. And we can make the decision to close in January, right? We don't have to make it tonight. We can decide, yeah, we've done some research on this and we think it is a good idea, or we've done some research on this and we think maybe in a year where maybe we're not ready to make that commitment. I don't know. So I don't want people to feel like we have to come up with a decision today unless there's something written in stone that says, as of today, we must adopt or decide whether we're closed or not on June. We can accept the calendar and put an action item for us to give this some more thought about the Juneteenth date and revisit it in the future, put it on the agenda. So, I mean, how do people feel about doing that?
I guess I was just curious if that you need to have this solidified tonight in terms of staffing, et cetera, et cetera.
No, but you can't partially accept the calendar. That doesn't.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering.
Why not?
It doesn't
Why
make
can't we accept the calendar without Juneteenth on there and then revisit whether we want to close on Juneteenth or not? Like,
well, I mean, okay, to play devil's advocate, you could say, let's be open on Memorial Day and let's be open on Martin Luther King Day.
no, but I'm saying we accept the calendar as without that on there, and then we put the possibility of closing as Juneteenth on Juneteenth in the agenda, or we can vote on it tonight. I mean, that's fine with me either way.
I think if you want to do some research, then put the whole, I wouldn't accept it in pieces. I would accept it as a whole or pass it to another meeting as a whole. That's all I'm saying. It's a little confusing in terms of paperwork. We don't need this, you know, until January 18th. I mean, that's when we need to know the library is going to be closed. We update the website and we update the event calendar and let the staff, you know, notify the staff these are the dates that are holidays, because they're eventually going to be looking at scheduling. But I think it's just easier to take it all at once.
Karen.
Yvette, do you know of other New Hampshire libraries that are taking Juneteenth as a holiday and an opportunity to educate?
This is what we talk about on the NHLA board, and this is what we are talking about. We just had a conference on Friday that I was in charge of. You know, in terms of promoting action items for anti-racism work. We have our next meeting, the committee has our next meeting tomorrow. So
Okay.
I don't know if any of the other directors are going back to their board after Friday, you know, bringing up, should we take this off as a holiday? Should we acknowledge it as a holiday?
Mm-hmm.
You know, for me, I see it more as an acknowledgement of a holiday, which could start discussion. But it's also, you know, what kind of, is it all talk or is it action? You know, this is action, and that's one of the things that the NHLA, we are committed to doing in our community. So I will report to them tomorrow, you know, that I've brought it up with you guys and you're gonna look into it. And that might help move the needle for other people in other communities, you know.
Yeah, I'm not saying that us standing alone or being at the forefront is a bad thing. I'm just asking, as this is a thing that might continue. New Hampshire is such an undiverse state that the only way anything is going to get done is if libraries and institutions and citizens adopt this, regardless of whether they're, you know, white Protestant, whatever, or you know, from other countries and immigrants and Juneteenth and the end of slavery or whatever. So, I mean,
Well, I think that, like we were talking about with the building, that maybe this is sort of a new idea because we haven't really seen anybody do it around here. So maybe we need to sit with it a little bit, do a little bit of research, maybe read up on it, decide, you know, where we, I don't want to make it like where we stand, but decide whether we think this is the best thing for the library to do for our community right now. And I think that it's worthy of our consideration, no matter how we vote on it. And I don't think that we should take it lightly. So if we could do that and reconvene, and we'll add it to our November agenda, and we'll make a decision one way or the other in November. I think if people sit with it, we might have some clarity on where we want to go moving forward. So thank you for bringing that to our attention, though, Yvette. I think it is important that we are cognizant of that, and libraries have always had a role in social change and social justice issues, and it's important that we continue to support those efforts. So, okay. Budget meetings, I scribbled in under new business because Yvette did tell us that November 13th, we have to have our budget for Paul McCallie. We don't want to be randomly finding out we should meet tonight. We have something going on. So with that in mind, I did say to Janet, I'm available when you're available. So Janet, can you let us know how many meetings this usually requires? Did we meet 3 times last time? 3. Okay, so we need 3 meetings. Is it better if we have the first one or the second one with Paul there? I can't remember if he met us the second time.
Actually, second and third, or certainly the third, the last time, because he just kind of zipped us right through it. But I think he did come twice.
Okay, I remember him
Yes.
once last year, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So,
I think he came twice. And the first, I think it is the second and the third.
Yeah.
Because the second we kind of come together, and then he makes comments like, you might want to look at that, or this number's been changed or whatnot. And then the third meeting tends to be rather quick.
And then the first meeting was just all of us just literally going through it and comparing and looking at what the changes were.
Right.
so we need to see when he would be available to meet with us for the second meeting, right?
Right.
So when would be a good time to have the first meeting? It's really right around the corner, so we probably want to meet fairly quickly.
Well, that falls on Yvette and staff, because they need to work their stuff first.
Okay. So November 13th is a Friday. So Yvette, when will you have stuff for us to review to begin the process?
Jeez. I'll get it by the end of October. Because then that gives you guys 2 weeks. That's a good window for Paul. That's nice.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Deb, you're muted.
It was so you didn't have to hear my M&M dinner. Let's see. So it's November 4th, we could meet. I would say the 3rd, but I think we'll all be too wrapped up with other things. So perhaps November 4th, we could have the trustee meeting, and then maybe Yvette could check with Paul and see what his availability is after that to meet with us twice between the 4th and the 13th. Does the 4th work for everybody?
That's for me.
Okay.
Tell me, is that a Thursday or a Wednesday?
That is a
It's a
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay. So November 4th will be our working session, like our first working session on the budget.
Yep.
Yes.
So November 5th, which is the Thursday following, the board has a tentative appointment with town council.
Okay, that's our meeting. Wait.
Oh, that's your annual presentation?
Yeah.
Okay,
If it's okay, we're penciled in, but.
that's fine. I can do that.
I can do that. I'm going to write it on the calendar.
Yes, honestly, if we know about it in advance, no problem, right? So thank you for letting me know. So November 4th, we'll do the budget meeting, and November 5th will be the town council appointment. So Heaney, for the town council appointment, Yvette and I just go up and talk with them. Janet, I don't know if you came forward at that point.
No, I just sit with everybody else.
Okay, so we just say, here's how things have been going in the library. Here's
Chairs last time, come on.
Yeah, it was more like, hi, here's what's going on.
We were like,
We were well received.
Exactly.
You were well received.
Yeah, they were really great. They really appreciate all that Yvette has done for the town. So, yeah, so then we'll just wait to hear from Paul what he has available between the 5th and the 13th. And I guess we'll have to work with that, right? We are kind of at his beck and call at that point. So,
Is
okay.
there a preferred time? Like, are you saying evening? It has to be
I think it has to be evening. I can do any time after the 4th, except for I am not available on November 11th at all. So
On November 4th, we're saying an evening meeting.
yeah, I think it has.
Okay.
I would say 7 o'clock, right? Just our
Okay.
regular 7 o'clock. Is that okay for people
Sure.
for the budget?
So would that be a Zoom?
Yeah, how are we going to do that?
Well, we can do that. If you,
Share screen.
Yeah, sharing screen.
before the meeting, I send it to you, Janet, and you put it on your Mac, then you can share your screen and
Okay.
do it all at the same time. That might even be nicer because it's all close up and big.
Yeah.
You know?
So, okay, great. And so we'll just wait to hear from when Paul's available and we'll move forward from there. So.
And the town council's usually after 7 o'clock or later for the annual presentation? 7.
We are there at 7, but we don't know if we'll go on at 7. So
Yeah,
Oh gosh, that's right.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Here's a funny story. I literally almost fell asleep because I get up so early in the morning. I had to leave. I felt bad, but
it's okay.
So,
It's all right.
so it is
It's actually very interesting.
It is.
I will just say. Okay.
so it is the 4th and the 5th, 2 days.
No, the 4th. Yeah, the 4th. We're going to have our budget meeting. We as the trustees via Zoom. The 5th. Anyone who would like to or feels comfortable can certainly join us at the town council meeting. Yvette and I will be there in person to present here's how the year's gone, you know. So, Janice.
oh, Deb, you said not available on November 11th,
Yes,
correct?
I am not. I am out of town on November 11th. I'm not sure what time I'll be home. So,
That is also Veterans Day.
yep, I
And
know, but
No, what I'm saying is our school is closed. So I'm wondering if other people might not be available depending on whether they're have kids in school or whatever. I was just thinking maybe blanketly we shouldn't plan that at all. Even if others of us could make it, that we should skip that date unless Paul really wants that date, but I assume the town offices would be closed. Yeah. So that's all I was just mentioning it. for
yeah,
that
I
reason.
just know, we have met in the past when the library was closed and because that's the best time. I just know on that particular day, as of right now, because things can change in 2 days, we will be visiting a college, so I'm not going to be available. So, okay. So I guess that's where we're good with the budget meetings. We have something tentatively scheduled, so we'll move from there. Operating, is there anything else under new business that I have neglected? Okay. Operating budget. Is there any questions for Yvette? Anything on the operating budget that?
I don't have any questions.
No? I see Janet shaking her head no. Okay. All righty. Director's report.
Okay. Dan Joseph submitted his letter of resignation. He accepted a full-time position in the circulation department at the Nashua Public Library. His last day of employment was Friday.
We have to vote to accept his resignation, right?
So I'm very sad to see Dan go. I'm happy for him that he has a full-time position, but it was always nice to interact with him at the library. He was always great, really helpful. So our loss. So I'd like to make a motion that we accept Dan's resignation with regret.
Second.
Seconded by Janet. We should do a roll call vote. So I'll say yay. So Sohini?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Karen?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
And Janice?
Yes.
please give him our best.
I have his letter. Would like me to read it. I'm writing to inform you of my resignation from my position of Aid 1 Circulation at the Merrimack Public Library, effective October 17th, 2020. I have been offered a position at the National Public Library, and I'm resigning my position in Merrimack so that I am able to accept this offer. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the staff, trustees, and community of the Merrimack Public Library. The Merrimack Public Library is a wonderful place, and I'm lucky to have worked there.
Oh,
It's lovely. Thank you.
very nice.
Are there any things you'd like to point out to us, Eva? Anything you'd like to share about the reopening? Anything? I was in there. It was fantastic. So.
Dan, right now, actually. So Deb, I have his PAR that I can leave at the circ desk.
Okay.
Okay. The reopening, we've just continued with curbside. We have discontinued having a greeter at the door. That's really hard to staff. It's really hard to cover. And most people are compliant. Most people are compliant. So we have a different procedure now where, between the reference desk and the circulation desk, they can look to see if someone, has their mask. The hand sanitizer is moved into the lobby. And then we have masks available on the public desks if someone has forgotten theirs. And then if the staff need assistance or something like backup to talk to a patron who maybe doesn't want to put their mask on, then I have ordered some little call bells that are going to be at the desk, and they could just ding the bell, and then someone could come over and help them out.
Great. How are the staff feeling about the reopening? Happy to see.
They're very good. We're getting a lot of nice comments. People are very pleased with the measures that we've taken. We are also interviewing people for the open positions. And so even the interview candidates, when they come in, they're commenting on it, that they really like the procedures that we have and they feel very comfortable being in the space. So
that's good to hear.
Also, yeah, nice feedback, and it's a lot of work to set up and plan for. So it's good that we've done the right thing.
It still feels very inviting, though. Yeah, definitely. So thank you. Thank you to your staff. So,
Yeah.
Any comments or questions for Eva on her report?
I do. Just up at the top is there's a acceptance of gifts.
Yep.
Vote to accept. Is there any? Oh, okay.
No, that's just it's like a
Placeholder.
template.
Okay.
Treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report. Okay, so I'm looking at the balance sheet. And under fines, we started the month of September with $19,193.40, and we ended the month with $7,593.82. I want to highlight that because in fines for that month, the expense for the granite sign was under fines that actually got moved to special. So that amount of the $1,220 will go back.
Say that again.
So in fines right now, there's an expense for the granite sign, the 50% for the granite sign.
Okay.
The expense isn't out of fines, it's out of special. So essentially that amount of the $1,220 will come back into fines.
So you'll just move it from special to fines.
Actually, the check just got voided and then,
Oh, okay. Okay.
and then it gets taken out of special, so.
Does anyone have any questions for Janet?
I'll do special and then I have a couple other things. So special, we started with 17,635 and 97 cents. And then we ended the month with 18,380 and 46 cents. I think, hold on. I gotta move my page. Nope, I was wrong. I had to scroll down. We have 18,230, 46 cents. Sorry. So Janice, did you get that?
I did. Thank
Okay.
you.
I had to scroll my page, I'm sorry. So I have a couple things that, that I'd like to do. So back in August-ish, I think it was August, might have been July, I opened up a new, actually we talked about it and I got permission from the board to open up a new savings account and just waited for about a month for DCU to open it. And that savings account, I want to move all of the Quimby money from that off account into a savings account that's under the Merrimack Public Library. So you would see it as part of our accounts. There's currently 10,000 that's sitting in special savings. And then there's 20,464 and 59 cents that's sitting in this off account. I want to move all that money to one account under the Merrimack Public Library. I think it's even called Quimby Memorial Fund. So that's what I'm asking. I'm asking to move the 20,464 and 59 cents from that other fund, other account, and the 10,000 from the special savings account into the one account.
Into a completely third account.
It's a savings account, but it's under the library. So like I said, so like when on that balance sheet, you saw fines, special, there's the savings accounts are on there. All of the accounts are on that. This one would also be on that account. We'd be able to see it.
And would it have a name?
It actually does. It does say Quimby Memorial.
Oh,
I think it
that's
actually
what I
says
thought you said.
Quimby Memorial Fund. I think that's what it's called.
For a clarifying question, so this is all money that's been donated in the name of Barry Quimby. We are holding it, awaiting further instructions. Is that correct?
Yes, except, well, there's that fine line, and the money received from the Quimby family, yes, but the money received from the donors that did it in lieu of flowers, that is I guess, that's what we, the library, want to do with that money with respect to Barry Quimby. So it's not, I don't know. I don't know if I would necessarily put it with the Quimby Foundation or the Quimby Fund, but I would put it with money that might be used and somehow say that it was from him, or
So
I don't know.
I'm just wondering if we're combining money that has two purposes then.
Yes, and well, it's hard to answer because it depends what we want to do with it. It's a trustee decision. In reality, I want to close this account because this account is supposed to be only like a 6-month account, and we've had it for over a year. So this is the one that has that we've had to write the Barry Quimby Memorial Fund, and just to cash those checks. And it was supposed to be just a temporary fund. So I want to pull all that money to be under the library so the library can see it, and it'll be all under that.
Okay, so you would like us, so I will make a motion.
Actually,
That-
hold on.
Go ahead.
So even if later on, once the money's moved and put in this account, if later on we want it split, it's easy. It's just I mean, you can do it online. You can do it online too. You can just move
Yeah,
the money.
that's never going to happen. So just so
Well,
you know.
It's possible. I mean, but I just want to put all the money together to say this was the amount of money that came together, and if we want to separate the money, it's available.
So then,
Oh, I lost
my
you.
motion if I am wrong, but I will make a motion that Janet moves $20,464.59
Yep.
from that other account
Yeah.
and $10,000 from
Special savings.
special savings into the newly created savings account labeled
Yeah.
Quimby Memorial Fund.
Yep, I will. Yes, I will second that
Okay.
if I can. Can I second that?
Janice, do you need me to say that again?
Well, here's my difficulty. We keep referring to something called an other account, or
Yeah,
this
I'm gonna-
account doesn't have a name, and it's really hard to record like
Well,
a motion without.
what's
It's-
the name, Janet?
The name on the other account is the Barry Quimby Memorial Fund. Pretty sure that's what it's called.
I mean, you and I can talk, Janet, if that makes it easier.
Well, that's what it's called because
Okay.
that's what people wrote on the checks. It was the Barry Quimby Memorial Fund.
Mhm.
And when we went back and forth with DCU was like, you can't cash that because you're the Merrimack Public Library. And so we had to, that's why we couldn't deposit it originally into our checking account.
Mhm.
So we had to create this other account that was the Barry Quimby Memorial Fund, cash them. Then they were supposed to sit just long enough that they cleared. And then we were going to transfer the money back into our special account. But then we ended up getting this another check, and then we had to deposit that as well. But now it's been a year, and we've had conversations with Yvette and the trust people to say it needs to say Merrimack Public Library. So that's where we
It
stand.
still stands that we moved $20,464.59 from the account that was called the Barry Quimby Memorial Fund account
Right.
and $10,000 from the special savings account into the new savings account titled the Quimby Memorial Fund.
There you go.
And you seconded it.
Correct.
Okay. Does anyone have any comments or questions before we take a vote? Okay, I will vote in favor. Sohini,
In favor.
thank you. Karen,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
and Janice.
Yes.
Okay, so 5-0-0, the motion passes. Thank you, Janet.
Thank you. And I am all set.
Okay,
Janet seconded, right?
yes, she did.
Thank you.
Now we have multiple minutes to accept. I've made notes of all of them, but please stop me if I forget anything. So the first minutes before us to accept are from September 12th. We have public to begin with. So September 12th, public minutes.
Retreat meeting minutes.
Sorry, retreat meeting
Okay.
minutes. Thank you. But they were our public session because it was still a meeting
Right.
and we met. So, okay. Any questions, corrections? Okay. So I make a motion that we accept the minutes. The September 12th retreat meeting minutes, the public part. Karen seconds my motion. Thank you. So we're just going to do a quick roll call vote. I vote yes. Sohini,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
and Janice.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. 500. Next, we have the non-public session meeting minutes from our retreat on September 12th. Any comments, corrections, questions?
Second.
Okay. I didn't make a motion, but I will now, and Karen seconded it. So, okay, I'll vote yes. Sohini,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
and Janice.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have our regular meeting minutes from September 15th. Public. Any?
I think I have a question on this somewhere. Hold on a second. I just had a question, and I have two questions. There's a section that says granite sign, quote from David Brooks and from Swenson Granite Works. I don't know why I recorded final vote on sign purchase to take place on October 3rd, because we had already approved it. So I'm just gonna strike that. It was weird to me. I was like, why did I do that? It only took one vote on the purchase, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was on the action items too, but we'll just remove that. So
Okay. And then I missed who seconded the vote for purchasing.
I remember. No, I have no idea.
And yeah. All right.
I think
I
I
have
did,
no idea.
actually.
Well, I
Janet
know
did.
you moved it for Janet.
I think I did.
All right.
I moved it, so Janet seconded is what she's saying. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, great. So I will make a motion that we approve these minutes as corrected. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Janet. I will vote yes. Sohini,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
and Janice. Janice is frozen.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, great. Okay, next we have the September 15th non-public meeting minutes. This took place actually before our public meeting. So any questions, comments, concerns, corrections? Okay, I'll make a motion. We accept the non-public session. Karen seconded that. I'll vote yes. Sohini,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
and Janice.
Yes.
Okay. Janice, you were busy. And then we'll have the October 3rd special meeting minutes where we discussed the RFP proposals. So any corrections to this?
Only the date up at the top. I got September.
No, that was me. I made all those mistakes.
Yeah.
That was, oh, don't worry. I have a lot of mistakes I made on mine. I'm looking at the ones that Janice did for October 3rd for the RFP. So,
Oh, okay.
yep. So I'll make a motion. We accept the minutes for October 3rd. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Janet. I'll vote yes. Sohini,
Yes.
Janice,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
and Karen. Okay, 500. Now the final ones, which clearly show that Janice should be the secretary and not me, because I put September 4th. I don't even know why. I think I took somebody else's minutes and was just cutting and pasting the top part. So clearly this meeting was actually held on, oh gosh, October. We met on, was it the 13th?
October 13th.
I think it was, yes, October 13th.
So that needs to be changed to October 13th. And then I also noticed that I actually didn't make a motion at the end. I made a motion. So I can't even blame it that it's really a word spell check would have cost, or caught rather. But if there's other errors, please point them out. I think I got the gist of what we chose to do correct, even if I made those mistakes. So any further corrections? Okay, then I'll make a motion that we accept these minutes as corrected with the typo and the date. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Karen. I will vote yes. Sohini,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Janet.
I don't think I was there for that.
Oh, that's right. You were not. Thank you. Oh,
So,
no, you were. It was the Prince meeting.
It was the
oh,
first meeting.
okay,
Janice wasn't there.
I
Janice
was
wasn't there. Yep.
So I
So,
have-
okay.
so Janice is not going to
Yes.
vote, but you were
Right.
there. So we are going to say that that one passed with corrections 401. So Janice. Okay. All right, we were busy, and Janice, you were very busy. So thank you for all of those minutes. That's a lot. As you can see, some of us are not capable of handling all of it. So thank you.
Well, no, please. You did a great job, Deb.
It's a lot. Okay, where are we on our agenda? We passed those minutes. We are on our committee updates. So Building Exploratory Committee has not met, except for now we've got the RFP. So that's kind of just awesome. Looking to go forward with SMP. Have the Friends of the Merrimack Public Library met?
Yes, they met. I didn't make it to the meeting, but they very kindly sent me a document with some things that were recorded during that time. Some of this maybe people know. They authorized $200 to support the trunk or treat Halloween event at the library. They're talking about having a Friends of the Merrimack Public Library banner outside the library, kind of where the turkey shoot sign used to go. So they're working with Jen Jobin about that. They're going to do a wreath auction in November.
Oh, nice.
Since they didn't have the book sale and the turkey shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And the wreaths will hang in the library, but they'll also be online so people can see them.
I think the Wadley Library has done that for a few years, and it's pretty amazing. So great.
And then their next meeting is October 26th at 7 p.m.
Wonderful. Thank you for
Anything to
sharing
add
that.
to that?
Okay. The Merrimack Public Library Development Fund Committee has not met. Janet and I have spoken with them, and I'll address that when we get down to Finance Committee. So we'll just kind of skip over that for now. And Town Center Committee, Karen.
Town Center Committee met. Where the pedestrian bridge under the Everett Turnpike has been severely compromised between vandalism and structural shortcomings, and it is now closed.
Oh,
We're hoping we will get some funds to reopen it and rebuild it. It's going to have to be completely rebuilt, which is not planned for and very sad. And basically,
It's behind my house. It's closed. Yes. It's just behind my house.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I cannot, we cannot cross over to the Merrimack High School through that bridge anymore.
Yes,
Walking the street.
a lot of people have gotten a hold of the of Nelson Disco, who is the chair of the Town Center Committee, and have expressed their dismay that they can't use it any longer. So they're trying to do something about that. And again, we're dealing with the sidewalks. It looks like Woodbury Street, also right near the high school, that sidewalks are going to go in the not distant future, which we've been talking about for a long time, but it actually looks like it's going to happen.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for keeping us up to date on what's going on with that. So we're moving on to the Library Board of Trustee committees. We have the Personnel Committee. Do you have anything for us, Personnel Committee?
We met on October 6th with the library director, Karen, and myself, and we went over three things. Well, three things that pertain to the library director's response to her evaluation. There had already been two pieces of information that had been documented by the chair in regards to the evaluation. We talked about collaboration between the Board of Trustees and the library director, and we discussed library director's request to meet with just the chair or just the personnel committee when her evaluation is presented, and talked about the format type of evaluation to be used going forward. We had some recommendations. Am I going too fast?
No.
No, okay. So
Excellent.
regarding collaboration, we
So are these things that we should, do you want to go into a non-public to discuss, or is this stuff that we can talk about right now?
I hadn't really thought about that, because usually we just give a report.
Yep, there's a report, but if you want to get into specifics, or if you have recommendations for the board as a whole on how we're moving forward, I think that is better suited for a non-public so that we can have open discussion. So,
Okay, that makes sense.
so would you like to have a non-public at the end of this one so you can share more with us openly?
If everybody's comfortable with that tonight, or we can add it to the next meeting. Karen, any thoughts?
No, if people would feel more comfortable discussing it that afterwards, that's fine.
It's
I
not,
think it would be more appropriate when we're talking about a staff member to be able to talk, freely and do it in a non-public. So,
okay.
Okay. All right. So we will do that. Is there anything from building and maintenance? No. Okay. Finance committee. So we are still working on the Quimby Trust. They're very generous offer to set this up. We got a document that was forwarded to us from the town attorney, Matt Upton, but there were some things that Janet and I were concerned about. I think that some things got muddled in translation as we were communicating our concerns. So we gave it some thought. There were a couple things that just needed to be cleared up, as far as like they still had Laura listed as a trustee who had to vote to accept that. So we would want those things obviously cleared up. But there were also some questions about the way the fund would work with interest and principal that weren't possible to work with municipal funds. So we wouldn't be able to do some of the things that they were asking us to do. And Janet sought some information from the Attorney General, who gave us a very succinct response explaining why one of the things they laid out in the trust couldn't happen. So I took some of those comments and the information we've gathered and wrote some questions and comments for the attorney. I had sent it back to Janet for her to go over once more. She picked up on some of my errors. So it's now in my hands to get it over to that attorney. There were also some thoughts that we would manage it, but that would also result in us paying some fees, which we weren't sure if they were aware of based on where they wanted it invested. So we just wanted to let them know about those things, and then we'll move forward. Obviously, we want to honor Dr. Quimby's requests, and we want to make sure that we are able to execute his wishes to the best of our ability. So it's we're just trying to do our due diligence and make sure that we'll be able to do that and there won't be any snafus going forward. So like with everything, it's been a long process, probably longer than any of us anticipated. And I'm hoping to get that to the attorney sometime tomorrow or Thursday. So that's where we're at. I don't know, we did investigate. Yvette mentioned the development fund might be a source for investment. When we talked with them about that they would manage the money, there was some conversation about how they'd then have to set up a separate thing in their bylaws so that they could give us directly the money. And it just sort of overcomplicated something that was already sort of getting complicated in our brain. So, but it was a great conversation and kind of, I think, gave them some pause, some things to think about and how we work together. So Bill and Holly were great to go back and forth with us on this. So I don't know if anybody has any questions. They're probably better suited for Janet than for me. I'm basically like, just trying to understand and be the conduit for this information, but happy to answer whatever we can. So anyone got questions, thoughts, comments? Karen?
I just don't, I want the Quimby family to understand that we are really grateful that
Mhm.
they have given us the funds, and that because of the rules and because of the situation that they're not aware of, we have to keep coming back even though it wouldn't be our choice.
And well, I think that obviously, I hate to blame everything on COVID, but I think if we could have had like a sit down meeting with the attorneys or something, like it would have been clearer. I think that maybe when we met with the town attorney, I feel like maybe I didn't do a good job expressing what those concerns were because they didn't seem to get translated and over to the other. So we're kind of playing a game of telephone via Zoom that's become a little bit muddlesome. So the document that I've made and the email that I've drafted is to go to the Quimby attorney, and Yvette, I'm happy to share that with you as well, so you're in the loop about what's going on. So I apologize if you have not been in that loop. So, all right. But we are incredibly grateful, but libraries are weird places with the money stuff. So we seem like the municipal regulations and who manages it. So,
Okay.
and thank you, Janet, for doing so much of the legwork, investigating things with Cambridge Trust and with the Attorney General. So this was clearly a case of I didn't know what I didn't know. So there we are. So, okay. So that's where we are with that. The only other thing I have before we go into non-public is that I did send you a mask quote. I hope you had a chance to take a look at it. The thing about the mask quote is that we don't get a discount on the price point until we buy that quantity. So anything under that quantity is going to be that $11 or what, I can't remember exactly what it was. I can pull it up. And I did ask them about the $15 shipping charge. And she got back to me and said, you'd be picking it up. But that, and if I got the bigger packet, the bigger amount, I would not have to pay the $15, but otherwise it's a $15 charge that they charge us, that are the shipping costs from the manufacturer to them. So that would be what that is. So I was a little surprised. I thought they were a little more expensive than I thought they were going to be, but I did get the quote for you. So I'd be happy to hear what your thoughts on that are.
Well, the larger amount was like 100 masks, right? Or 72, was that what it was? I can't remember.
Let me pull it up.
It's 72.
72?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was like $8 or $9 a mask, something like that.
If you moved up to that one, yep.
How many would we need?
Well, do we want 72 Merrimack Public Library masks?
I like the idea of having some available to give to the friends, to give to some of our supporters. Like, I think that's like a nice thing. Like, thank you for all that you do for us, like a way to acknowledge the other boards or some people, something. But I don't know that we need 72. I'm not sure about that.
But the other way is really a lot more expensive. It's only a dozen.
Yeah, and it's $143.
Staff.
And we would need more than that for the staff.
Yeah.
So, and we aren't committed to this. This was just, we were investigating things we could do for the staff. And I had mentioned mask. I think mask was on Yvette's list too. So we wanted to get a quote. But I'm open to other ideas. I still think it's really important that we try to get something done for the staff within, the next few weeks. So.
Well, Janet, do we have the money to buy those masks? Are we getting down pretty low?
Oh, no, we have money.
I mean, I would need to get a sample if we were going to go forward with it, right? I'd want to see
Yes.
one before we placed a large order. So,
Yeah.
Would they give us a sample before we made an order?
I can't imagine that they wouldn't, because I'm not ordering 72 of anything without seeing
Okay.
one up, you know. This is how you do business, right? You like,
I don't know. I've never,
yeah.
it
I
seems
mean,
to make sense to me that they would.
yeah. Believe me, I'm
Okay.
not going through all this to get one mask. So, Yvette, go ahead.
When we haven't used fully promoted for some of our promotional items, shirts, things, there are other companies that aren't local that might have a different price if you want to compare with other vendors. I know Arfa has done that for me in the past. I think we bought golf shirts, you know, with the collars. And she was pricing things and found something more within what we wanted to spend. So I can ask her
Mhm.
which vendors she preferred.
Yeah, that would be great just to have. And if it comes back that it's within like close enough, then we just go with the local people, obviously, right? They'd have to be like considerably cheaper, I think, to justify going elsewhere. Petroselli Marketing is also another company in town. I don't know what
Yeah.
size they would do, but I'm happy to reach out to them. I know them, so I could get an idea of if they're doing that kind of thing too. I just hate to have it. I hate to have it kind of sitting out there and us not moving forward while we wait for more, you know, until the next trustee meeting or whatever. So, and I don't want to have a special meeting for masks. So I don't know.
Is there
Should we?
something else on the list that we could reconsider?
Well, I was wondering if we should do something else, like a food type thing that we had talked about, and do something within like the next week or that, where we like kind of flood the staff room with lots of different treats. We had talked about doing that, and the mask thing can still be something we do. We're going to be wearing these for a while, right? It doesn't have to happen, but I'd like to acknowledge the staff in some way soon. We're open. They're doing a lot that we need to do something for them. So
It's hard, right? Because you have to, not everybody's there at the same time. So it has to be something that's can last more than one day or 2 days or.
didn't we talk about getting like some
Yeah.
big platters and buying like a lot of stuff at like Costco and BJ's and just kind of like having like those individual snack packs that people can take of a variety of things?
Yep.
So
Right.
should we do something like that? And maybe for in the next week or so, maybe for the first week of November, we would have something like that for people. I see people thinking, what's up? What are you thinking?
Actually, I'm just thinking that we could just set a dollar amount and just go buy it.
Yep. We could do it next week. I mean, it's like we, you know,
Exactly.
yep.
Yeah, it's
So-
fine to do it the week following.
Yeah, we can, you know, you can go to the dollar store and buy like some, or we can get some like containers so it's not just all over the place and kind of make it look nice and put lots of different healthier type snacks. Everybody's going to have plenty of candy available, right? But you can get pretzels and granola bars and cookies. And, well, they're not healthy, but you know, and we can put
Fruit
chocolate
cups,
in there
fruit
too.
cups.
Okay. And we can put chocolate in there, just not Milky Way because they were disgusting. But like we can put like, sorry. So yeah, you can put whatever you want in. But yes, I think that's a great idea. And do we want to do bottled waters and little seltzers or sodas too? Yvette, what are your thoughts on what the staff would like for food like that?
That all sounds good.
Okay. Okay. So dollar amount that we'd like to do this, and I will still continue the mask investigation because I do think that would be great. And I think it'd be fun for us to have it as a sort of a promotional material too. People are putting their things on masks all over the place, but I just want to do something for the staff sooner than that might be able to happen. So what is a good dollar amount?
I don't shop for anything in bulk, so I can't really speak to that.
Well, you can get like a box of granola bars, like giant one for like $24 or something like that at Costco. I think you're looking at like
$100 unreasonable, too much.
I don't think that's enough, actually. I think it was
Okay.
maybe 150 because you want to get like a variety of things and you want to
Right.
get water. And if we have extra, mean, a couple cases of water, that's going to be 10, 15 bucks right there. Unless you get them at Costco, they're at 40 for I think $4 there, Poland Spring. I do go there. And what else?
So up to $200?
That might be, I mean, I don't think we're going to need that much.
Okay.
I don't know. Janet, are you a BJ shopper or a Costco?
I'm a BJ shopper,
Okay.
and I don't know, I was thinking 200.
Okay.
Because even if, I mean, there's enough employees, and even if, I mean, we're getting non-perishable things. So if it's,
And we don't have to
I mean,
spend 200. I mean,
Exactly.
that is a lot for snack food. That's, you know, but okay. So 200, but we probably won't spend 200, but it'll still be up to 200 is the amount. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
yes.
So Janice, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'll make a motion to spend up to $200 for snacks as an appreciation gift for staff.
Yeah, for staff to show our appreciation. That's excellent. Thank you. I'll second that. Okay, so I'll vote yes. Sohini,
Yes.
Janice,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
and Karen. Janet, would you like to be the one that buys it? Would you like me to buy it with my Costco membership? Whatever. Or somebody else, if somebody else has a bulk
fine.
membership that they'd like to.
Oh, Karen, you're muted.
She's not
Oh.
muted.
Oh,
She
I
just
couldn't-
wasn't talking. She
I
was
was gonna say, I
going.
couldn't hear her at all.
I don't buy in bulk because I don't have a lot to buy. But I will go with you. I mean, if you need moral support or carrying, I just don't have a membership.
All right, Karen, you and I'll go shopping.
Sure.
Awesome. I mean, I get that you want to have fruit cups, but light. Okay, light on the fruit cups. I don't want to that. And yeah, so okay.
Yogurt raisins.
There you go.
All right. If I'm going to be healthy, I want to be healthy. If I'm having a snack, I want a snack, right? Like I'm not mixing the two. But thank you. I'm glad we're doing something. If you need help like setting it up or decorating, I think any of us would be happy to like help set it up and get it in there. So. All right. Is there anything else for our regular meeting before we?
I have correspondence.
Oh, go ahead.
I have several thank you notes. Some of them are way back to when we gave the Buckley's gift cards. So I had no idea they were there and picked them up the other day. So we have one from Joanne thanking us for the Buckley's gift card. I have one from Sheila as well, and one from Jen Stover. I mean, pretty all for the Buckley gift cards and being appreciative of them. If somebody wanted to read them, I can certainly leave them at the library.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Janice. Okay, is there anything else? Yvette.
Yeah, just in terms of how you used to communicate in terms of, things like that, and you had a drawer. So your communication system, because the circulation desk moved back and they're using those drawers, Joanne and I are working on, I don't know if I put this in my report, but Joanne and I are working on a way to put your mail and the other boards, with the Friends and the Development Fund, they all had drawers. And so we're trying to figure out a way to have the boards get their mail where they don't have to go behind the desk. The whole point was to not have the public, behind the desk and just keep it as staff. I don't even go behind the desk, just keep it as staff zone. So, we're looking at things that are like hanging files. You might see them in a doctor's office that are attached to the wall. Trying to figure out if that's secure enough or not. So, I don't really want to buy a file drawer for 3 boards. That seems to be too much. but we're working on it. Just so you know. In the meantime, we're just giving everything to circulation, but it's something so that you can come in autonomously, you know, and independently come and retrieve any communication that you might have in your drawer.
Karen,
Yvette, just a quick question. I still have my key for my drawer. Would you like me to drop it off next time I'm at the library? Just give it to a staff member? Is that the idea? Okay.
Yep. That's fine.
awesome. Good question, Karen. I'll do that too.
I will too.
I just had like this weird, I know this is like, thought, oh, I need to get a book from the library. I'll have to put it on hold. And I was like, as you're talking, like, I can go there tomorrow. Like, it's just so nice, right? It's like a mental shift of knowing that you can walk in there. It's just really lovely. So great. So thank you. Okay. Is there anything else? We got a lot done in a very quick amount of time. We would be maybe beating one of our all-time records if we weren't going to take a few minutes to go into non-public. But Janice.
Oh, we didn't just say the upcoming events. Like, I think people would be really interested to know that there's a trunk or treat celebration
Sure.
on October 31st from 2 to 4:30 p.m. in the library parking lot. So I thought that was worth mentioning.
Any trustees who want to bring their car and decorate it and dress up and join us, you're welcome to do that. You just need to let me know.
I wish I'll be dressed up at work, but I don't know if I'll be able to get over here by then. But thank you. That's really fun. And Janice, thanks for bringing that to our attention. Friends of the library are meeting on October 26th at 7 via Zoom, and the Merrimack Public Library Development Fund Committee meeting to be announced. So there'll be something coming up at some point. And then our next meeting, well, we'll be meeting to go over the budget on the 4th to begin that. But our next regular meeting will be November 17th. Okay, great. So I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn the public meeting session of this evening. Do I have a second?
Second.
Who's seconding?
Janet.
Janet.
Okay. And so let's talk about the protocol here. So just correct me if I'm wrong. Should we have just gone into non-public and then come out to and adjourn from our public one? This is always very confusing to me. So I apologize that I could have been incorrect in how we handle that. Janice.
Well, the reason I leapt into that area was we